maybe I've said this before, maybe not. The very first company I started in this industry when I was 24 years old was called Health Education Corporation. And my entire goal was just to educate people about the problems in the health industry, the lies, the charlatans, the bad ingredients. But that eventually led to me formulating products for people, because a lot of companies would say, hey, we like what you're saying. Can you do something that would be clean for us and whatnot? And so that was the beginning of my career in this industry. Before I had even gotten my degree, I was studying health sciences, but I hadn't gotten any degrees or anything like that. It just kind of fell in my lap. And then that led to a research and development facility, which led to owning manufacturing facilities, which eventually led me to kind of be known as an industry expert for my formulas and whatnot. My entire career, I've been focused on education, down to the very name of my company. And so tonight, what we're going to be doing is talking about education again, why ingredients matter, and how you can notice what's a bad ingredient, what's a good ingredient. In 30 minutes, you're not going to get a perfect training here, but I'm going to give you some general ideas of things to look for. And I'm going to show you what I've known for years, that 95 to 98% of the industry, I'm shooting out numbers. I don't have exact statistics, but each and every company I come across is going to be covered in tonight's call, basically, as far as the ingredients they're using. If I would even go so far as to say probably 98% of the companies out there are going to be in this thumbs down crappy category that we're going to be talking about. And there's only a few, select few companies out there who really focus on ingredients. And I'm going to show you some amazing, like blow your mind, incredible examples. I've got copies here of supplement facts panels from an $18 retail product to a $101 network marketing product, and they're like identical. So it really, the bad ingredients are identical. So again, it's going to blow your mind when you realize that companies use just marketing and hype and direct sales and influence marketing to sell you something that you can buy at the grocery store for 18 bucks, but you're paying $100 for it retail because you bought it from your friend or you bought it from a well-established network marketing company or something like that. And yet it's the same. Yes, it's sad. I saw the crying symbols go up and it's true, but I'm going to prove it to you tonight. But before I do that, let's get into the problem of why ingredients matter. So first and foremost, let's talk about some of the clinical studies. Again, I'm not just spewing out, Tracy talk here. These are factual clinical studies. I'll be citing them, the dates they were published, where they were published, et cetera, okay? So when I say the research has shown that taking a synthetic isolate form of a multivitamin is actually more harmful to you than not taking one, again, it's going to blow your mind, but this is a fact. So let's go over one. These are two very large studies, by the way, okay? One of these studies published in October 10th, 2011 in the Archives of Internal Medicine. It's called the Iowa Women's Health Study. Now, this isn't even an extremely large study, but it's 38,000 women, so it's a fairly large study. It was over 20 years where they studied women age 55 who entered the study, and they tracked them for 20 years till they were age 75, all right? Among those findings, taking a multivitamin actually increased the risk of premature death. Now, you would say, well, don't people take multivitamins to prevent, all these degenerative diseases? Well, you would think so, but the problem is we're taught that good nutrition can prevent these degenerative diseases. But synthetic isolated vitamins, now again, you have to look at the year of this study. This is 2011. It was about 28 that I first started studying whole food nutrition. And it wasn't until 2012 that I was even able to produce a decent whole food multivitamin. And even then it was mostly yeast based. It's only been since about 2014-15 where we've had true, really good non-yeast based multivitamins, whole food multivitamins out there. So this study was 100% all, of course, the synthetic vitamins. And I'll go in and give you more details, but they actually took Many generic multivitamins or off-the-shelf vitamins. The women were surveyed, 38,000 women were surveyed which products they took, and they were products that could be found at most retail outlets. And then the conclusion, in agreement with our hypothesis, most of the supplement studies were not associated with a reduced total mortality rate. In contrast, we found that several commonly used dietary vitamin and mineral supplements, including multivitamins, B vitamins, folic acid, minerals, iron, magnesium, were associated with a higher total mortality. That's crazy. People that take synthetic isolated multivitamins die sooner, okay, than those who do not. Now, let's get into a huge study. This is over 1 million people. This study was published July 15 of 2000 in the American Journal of Epidemiology. It compared 1,063,000 adult Americans from 1982 to 1989, okay, over a 7-year period of time, and compared mortality of the users of multivitamins alone, vitamins A, C, and E alone. So again, we're talking synthetic isolates because you've never seen a vitamin A tree, right? Or an ascorbic acid bush anywhere. These things don't grow on trees or bushes or plants. These are synthetic isolates, right? And then they did multivitamin A, C, and E in combination with the use of other multivitamins and compared that to people who didn't use any supplementation of any kind. And they used a analysis method. It's a Cox hazard method. It's too detailed for me to explain, but it basically compares users versus non-users, different mortality rates compared to different vitamin charts. When you Google this study, you'll find it. Again, it's July 15th, 2000, the American Journal of Epidemiology. They found that multivitamin users had an increased risk in heart disease, cancer, and cerebral vascular diseases. Okay, again, showing the same thing that the Iowa Women's Study showed, an increase in mortality. There's another more recent study in 2011. When I say more recent, that's more recent than these other two studies, of 35,000 men. This is published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. They found that high-dose vitamin E supplements was linked to a 17% increased risk in cancer between 7 and 12 years. Now, we all think that vitamin E is good. We all think that vitamin A is good for us, but nowhere can you find these in nature, you guys. Again, show me a tocopherol tree. Doesn't exist, okay? Alpha tocopherol, delta tocopherol, these are the natural types of vitamin E, and then you've got your carotenoids from vitamin A, things like that. Again, they come in single isolated forms, and they're chemical mirrored images of what's found in food, but they are not the same. They are non-identical. And so you need to really educate yourself when you see a vitamin name and you're taking it in its isolated form. It's not going to do you any good. In fact, it's going to do you harm. You're actually harming yourself. Giving your children a multivitamin that's full of chemical isolates, you're harming your children, okay? You're not helping them. And trust me, you're not going to find whole food nutrients in a gummy or in a tablet or anything like that. Now, you could find whole food powders like in capsule form. You can find them in powder drinks and things like that. But it's not going to happen. I think the science proves that taking isolated vitamins is bad for you. So what does all this mean to you? How do we pick out what's an isolate and what's a whole food? That's what we're going to go over tonight. So one of the reasons why we founded LifeWise and why we called it that is because we want people to make wise decisions. Wisdom is the application of truth, okay? The application of correct knowledge is wisdom. So just by taking a multivitamin, that's not wisdom, because you might be taking a bad multivitamin. You might be taking an incorrect multivitamin, so that's not wisdom because it's not the application of truth, all right? What you need to be doing is taking nutrition, and isolated chemicals are not nutrition. So let's start with just the simple things. Vitamin C. Pull out your multivitamin. You can't pull out ones that I've made because this experiment won't work. So I went and I had to go to the store and I had to cover the labels of this one. But to show you like back here, just go to the top or go to the ingredient list. And if you don't have a multivitamin, most of you have cold cereal in your home. Go to your cold cereal box because they fortify everything with vitamins and minerals. And I want you to pull out your little facts panel and put in the chat box what you see for vitamin C. Everybody's going to write ascorbic acid, or you're going to write calcium ascorbate, or you're going to write sodium ascorbate. It's one of those three things. That's where vitamin C, that's all these isolates that come from that are coming from one of those three sources. Anybody seen an ascorbic acid? I've never seen an ascorbic acid bush. I'm a pharmacognosist. Plant sciences are what I specialize in. I've never seen one. Doesn't exist. So if it doesn't exist in nature, then where the heck are they getting it from? I'll tell you where they get it from. They take calcium ascorbate, which, by the way, you can get moderately high sources of calcium ascorbate in like potato skins. Okay, like if you skinned all your potatoes, soaked it in water for days on end, just warm water, you would draw out some of the calcium in that water. It wouldn't even be close to like 5% in the water, but you could get some, right? What they actually do is then they take all that calcium and then they pour sulfuric acid over it and you burn off the calcium, the mineral, and you're left with the ascorbate salt. It's a man-made process. It's highly processed. It is not found in nature, okay? But I can certainly show you a rose hip bush because it's a rose bushes. Who's got rose bushes? And when those roses, like before they bloom or after they bloom, they leave a little hip. It's the hip of the rose, right? It looks like cherry, only it's hard and it's not as red as a cherry. Rose hips are found in nature and they naturally contain about 15 to 20% vitamin C. Camu is another fruit that contains up to 50% vitamin C. So there are foods out there that are super high in vitamin C. Guava is another one that's high in vitamin C. Green guava is especially high, but green guava is kind of gross. Nobody wants to eat it, but you can certainly turn it into a powder and you're like 50% vitamin C. So just look at vitamin C. If it says rose hips or acerola cherries or camu, that's a food. If it says ascorbic acid, thumbs down. Let's go to thiamine. Vitamin B1. It's going to say thiamine. Vitamin B1 is thiamine, okay? But when you add words after it, you know you're getting the mirrored isolate. Thiamine monohydrate, thiamine dihydrate, things like that. Thiamine in its natural form is a phosphate, and yet we make it a monohydrate. It's a triphosphate actually, so 3 phosphate molecules. Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but either way, we make it a single hydrate. Why? Oh, because it's super commercially cheap to make, easy to synthesize, and it's readily soluble in water. Yeah, that's thiamine's vitamin B1, and they get it from this thiamine monohydrate crap. Again, it reads like a chem lab project. Let's go to vitamin B2, which is riboflavin. But when you see anything after the riboflavin, and by the way, sometimes you can't tell. You have to look at the ingredients. So I'm holding up this cereal box right here, and I should have highlighted it, but it says riboflavin right here. But you have to go down to the ingredient deck to see that it's actually riboflavin-5 phosphate is what they use for their riboflavin. So don't look at this portion, the percentage of the daily value. You've got to go down to the ingredient portion to see what source of riboflavin they were using. When you're looking at this, don't look here. Look down here. This is the truth. The law requires they write this stuff here, the source of the vitamin. Not up here. This tells you the vitamin and its percentage of daily value, but this tells you the source. That's number one rule in reading your ingredient labels, all right? Look for the source of the vitamin in the ingredient section, not on the facts panel or the percentages of the RDI, the recommended daily intake or recommended daily allowance, or sometimes they just write it as DV, daily value, all right? Folate, this is where it's going to get highly controversial for some of you people out there. Folate is the natural green vitamin that's in all your dark green leafy vegetables, and And yet most of us, when you go look at your bread, when they make bread, by the way, they take out the wheat germ, which contains all the B vitamins, so they've got to fortify it with these synthetic isolates to give it a longer shelf life. Same with your cold cereal boxes, same with your vitamin supplements and everything. They use folic acid, F-O-L-I-C, acid. Now, this is where it's going to get controversial. Most people who are fairly educated in health knows that folic acid is a synthetic isolate, but what they don't know is that methylfolate is too. I know tons of people that have the MTHFR gene mutation and they're like, well, I only take methylated vitamins because my body doesn't process synthetic isolate. Guess what? Methylfolate's a synthetic isolate too. Show me your methylfolate tree. Show me your methylfolate root that you pulled out of the ground. No, it's a synthetic isolate. And the fact that you people who have the MTHFR gene mutation are not dead is a testament to the fact that your body can use food vitamins. Why? Because vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin synthetic, methylcobalamin synthetic too. The fact that you guys are still alive means that you're getting your B12 from like maybe egg yolks, or you're getting your B12 from dark green leafies like seaweed, things like that, meat products, dairy. Because that form of B12 is highly bioavailable even if you have the MTHFR gene mutation. Because B12 and your B vitamins are essential to life. You would die in less than 90 days because, for example, B12 and iron are critical for making new red blood cells. So if you couldn't process your B vitamins because you have the MTHFR gene mutation, you would be dead before you hit 90 days as an infant. But you're not dead. Why? Because it was probably in your mother's breast milk, or because you're eating it in some type of food and you're still alive. Now, I agree that if you're going to take a synthetic isolate, then choose one synthetic isolate is better than another. Methylated B vitamins are better than non-methylated B vitamins, but they're both synthetic isolates. So why even choose that? Why even have it as an option when you can just get whole food multivitamins now? So we covered B12, we covered folic acid, pantothenic acid is also a natural vitamin, but most of the time you're getting it from, again, a chem lab project. It's called D-calcium pantothenate. Hard to say, even harder to chemically synthesize, but it's in all of your foods, okay? When it says fortified with vitamins and minerals, those are synthetic isolates. Let's talk about magnesium. Most types of minerals, you guys, are oxides. Magnesium oxide, guys, that's what they make like chrome bumpers out of. It's a metal. And yet every single one of these supplements that I'm going to show you today, even the $101 supplement, gets their magnesium from magnesium oxide. You're literally picking up dirt and throwing it in your mouth. Man, dirt, that's where they mine that stuff. They go get it from the mountainsides. That's where your calcium oxides, magnesium oxides, your calcium carbonates, they're basically, calcium carbonate is just fossilized calcium, whether you're getting it from coral reefs or from old cow bones or things like that. That's where you get the calcium carbonate from. Calcium citrates, of course, come from citrus fruits and vegetables, but it's still an isolate. They still burn off all the good bioflavonoids and everything that was in that orange peel, and you're left with just the calcium, the mineral. It's crazy. It's a metal. You get bone spurs and crap from that stuff. You're making your blood toxic. There's tons of people I know that take iron supplements because their doctor tells them they're low in iron. And guess what? Their iron levels don't change. And yet they get constipated. They get stomach aches and headaches from the stupid iron supplement because they're taking iron oxide, which is what you make your cast iron pans from. You might as well just go lick a cast iron pan. Did you know? Interesting fact, by the way. Hippocrates, clear back in 500 BC, used to treat anemia by going to the smithies that were making the swords and stuff for the Roman Empire, and he would use their wastewater to treat anemia. Now, even iron oxide is better than no iron at all, so it would help a little bit, but using that over time, just like these studies show, it's going to increase your mortality. You will die sooner taking synthetic isolates and metallic minerals, okay? Foods are literally how our bodies thrive. Food is how our bodies were made to process nutrients, all right? Now, I'm going to go over a few labels for you, and this is the big shocker here. I've got 3 different products here. Let's start with the retail one. This is $18.50 retail brand that I bought, well, my wife bought it from our local grocery store. $18.50. Guess what? Magnesium oxide. That's where they get their magnesium. They have all the synthetic isolates in here, the D-alpha tocopherol. But here's what's even awesome. They have maltodextrin. Do you guys remember my post from early last week? And I'm talking about putting maltodextrin on your face. Why would anyone want to do that? Maltodextrin is just, it's a sugar. It's a type of sugar. And so they put maltodextrin. It's the 4th ingredient after ascorbic acid in these tablets. Big honkin' horse pill tablets, okay? They gotta hold that tablet together, so what did they choose? Sugar. Guess what? They also put BHT in it to preserve. And to make it pretty, they put Blue Lake number 2. Ooh. And guess what? Red number 40. That's even before all the vitamins. You guys, there's more food coloring in this product than there are vitamins. More food coloring than vitamins, all right? Freaking nuts. These guys claim that, that they're a health-based company. Of course, they have the folic acid and they've got all the crap in there, but there's cornstarch in there too. Oh, here's my favorite one. Polyethylene glycol, PEG. The same stuff you put in your radiator. Antifreeze, basically. It's nuts. Why would you do that? Of course, they're doing it as a preservative. So in cold weather, if you're taking this up in Maine or Wisconsin or Minnesota or something, the tablet doesn't become ice. I don't know why they put it in there. It's gross. Silicon dioxide, thiamine monohydrate. Oh, here's another one. Titanium dioxide. By the way, not all minerals are good for you. Some minerals are actually toxic, like arsenic, like cadmium. Guess what? Titanium. Titanium dioxide is a carcinogen. It is a cancer-causing agent. So we've already shown you the studies that synthetic vitamins and minerals cause cancer, but no, they want to make your cancer grow faster. So they put titanium oxide. They'll go ahead and throw in a carcinogen in there with it. Crazy. But guess what? $18.50. I pulled off a $101 retail. I had to cover the name right there. $101 retail network marketing, famous network marketing company product. Can I read you the ingredients? They're all the same. Maltodextrin. Why? Because they're big honkin' horse pill tablets again. Ascorbic acid, cholecalciferol, thiamine monohydrate, magnesium oxide, food coloring. It's in there. Now, their food coloring happens to be natural, but it's still crap. 5 times the cost. Why? I don't get it. It's the same stuff. Here's my cold cereal box. I blew it up for you. So you can still see it's pyridoxine HCl, it's thiamine monohydrate. I could eat 3 bowls of that cold cereal and get the same amount of nutrition as in 1 dose of this $101 vitamin. 3 bowls of cold cereal. And it's the same stuff. It's the synthetic isolates. I hope I'm blowing your mind here because it's everywhere. These synthetic isolates are everywhere. Anything that says fortified, any multivitamin you're buying in the grocery store, 98% or more of your dietary supplement companies are using this crap. We're different. We're different. This is your list of ingredients in the one, a $99 a month product, okay? A proprietary whole food blend of red algae. I can show you red algae. This stuff comes from Iceland, by the way, where we buy our red algae from. Sesbania, that comes from India. Guava fruit, you can get guava anywhere, right? Indian gooseberry. Now again, that probably tells you it comes from India. Holy basil. I'm growing it in my backyard. I can show you pictures of that. Rose hips. Nutritional yeast culture. Lemon pills. Nutritional yeast, by the way, they use it, for example, like tons in Europe. They have in Norway, Sweden. It's kind of a common thing. You just buy these little jars of nutritional yeast and they want you to take a tablespoon of that every day, or they'll stick it in yogurt cultures and things like that. That's basically what nutritional yeast is. It's very high in B vitamins. I could have put like blackstrap molasses in here because that's high in iron and B vitamins too. Lemon peels. That's where, the calcium ascorbate and things like that comes from. Bixa aureliana. That's also, we buy that from India as well. That's also a fruit that's quite common there. Oh, I forgot. We have spirulina, alfalfa leaf juice powder, barley grass, broccoli, kale, broccoli sprouts, by the way, powder. So that's the ingredients of the one. Not one of those sounded like a chem lab project. One had a Latin name, I mean Bixa, but it's still a fruit. I can show you pictures of that. They're not little white powders grown in petri dishes, okay? It's food. Your body recognizes it as food. And so when you take this product, you will feel the nutrition. You'll feel like, hey, you won't get agitated. You won't get an upset stomach. You won't get the headache or anything that comes from taking synthetic isolates. One of the worst things a pregnant mother can do is take the freaking prenatal that her doctor prescribed for her, because that's sold down at the pharmacy and it's iron oxide and it's a whole bunch of synthetic isolates, and every pregnant mother I know that takes those gets sick from them. For you women who have done it, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Take food. And if you're pregnant, maybe take a double dose or 1.5 or something like that. If you're over already like 140 or 150 pounds, and you're starting to eat for 2, like you're in the second trimester, go ahead and take 1.5 of these. If you're in your first trimester, just 1 a day is going to be fine. A great prenatal. I hope this information has helped you guys today. I hope I have, blown your minds with the crap that's out there in the industry. So you can never judge a vitamin by its price. You judge it by looking at the ingredients. Okay, read the ingredients, and if they read like your 8th grade chem lab project, don't buy it. If they read like your grocery store shopping list, like you'd find in the produce section, then it's wonderful for you and it's food and your body can use it. Again, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you guys all share this information. I want hundreds and hundreds of shares going out there regarding the information I've given to you tonight. But thank you for joining me tonight, and I'll see you next week in the lab with Dr. Tracy Gibbs, Chief Science Officer of LifeWise. Thank you. Have a good night.